everyone, I'm Carrie and I'm here today to talk to you about scripting. With this, I had to get a little bit creative. I'm in a hotel right now, so I'm very limited to what I can cook right now. So I've decided to use an auditory script on how to make coffee because I have a coffee pot. So I'm going to use a script and I'll talk a little bit about scripting. First, I'm going to go ahead and hit play on my auditory script.
To make a cup of coffee. First, we're going to make sure that the coffee pot is plugged in.
Good thing that was in there. The coffee pot was not plugged in.
Then, take the coffee pot and fill it with water all the way to the top. Next, we're going to open the lid of the coffee maker and pour the water in the back right-hand side hole. Make sure to empty all of the water. Next, we're going to take the bag of coffee, open it up, place it in the basket in the top of the coffee maker. Make sure to take the trash and put it in the trash can. Next, we will close the coffee pot. Then we will press the on-off button to start the coffee maker.
While that's brewing, I'm going to go over a little bit about scripting and how it can be really effective for children with disabilities, especially those with autism. It is very effective with preschoolers to ages 22. Some things that we really should consider when we're looking at scripting is their language. So for a auditory script, things that we really need to consider is the language that we're using. Is the language in that student's repertoire? Can they understand what we're saying? Do they need full sentences or do they need shorter sentences? Or sometimes they just might need a verbal cue on what they need to do. We need to make sure that the language is appropriate and the steps are in a good sequence and they understand how to do it and are able to replicate it, and are they able to practice it themselves. The tone of voice is also something that we really need to consider when we're talking to students, when we're doing an auditory script. So our tone of voice, you want it to be positive and you want them to be able to engage in the activity. I chose to use an auditory script instead of a visual script because some of the students we're going to be dealing with are going to be more advanced and they don't need the modeling. That an auditory script would be just as easy for them, if not easier, to manipulate when they're going through the steps on the things that they need to do. It also creates more independence for people with higher abilities. Some of the things that we need to do when you're putting together the script is you need to make sure that the student understands everything, and then you need to teach the script. So when you're talking to the student, explain everything that they're doing. You can have them model it. You can model it for them the first time, going over the audio script, and then practice it. And you can practice it over and over again. The one thing we really need to make sure is when we're putting together a script that it's very individualized, so that student understands and everything is in their repertoire. Scripts can also help enhance the interactions within home and school and work routines by providing learners with the predetermined script. Once the script is learned, that student can learn to put it in, and we can put in a fade and create supports with independence. some of the benefits of an audio script is it doesn't take very long to create. So it's a very easy intervention to be able to put together, and it's very easy for a student to learn. So it doesn't take much time to create, it doesn't take much time to implement. Scripting also helps increase interactions. Once the student learns how to make a cup of coffee, by using that script, they could teach other people how to make coffee, which could create communication with the students. They could walk into school one day and say, hey, I know how to make coffee. You want to come over with me and you and I can have a cup of coffee together? Because who doesn't love coffee? It's also a very natural reinforcer, because once the student learns to make a cup of coffee, they can have coffee. I mean, who doesn't love coffee? So I'm going to go back to my auditory script here, because we're going to pretend like the coffee's done.
Ready, and any coffee creamer you would like to get out of the fridge.
Ooh.
But make sure and put the coffee creamer back. When the coffee's
So I'm going to grab.
ready, you can pour yourself a cup of coffee.
I'm going to pour myself.
When you are finished enjoying your coffee, make sure to turn the coffee maker off.
And that, my friends, is how you enjoy a cup of coffee in a hotel. Don't you all want to be friends with me?